My intention is to very quickly go through this material. I've been out there all the past 2 days and it's driving me crazy. So we are, with Paul's help, going to try to make this as interactive as possible. So my plans were to go over a little bit of our background, then get into where the Department of War, quantum-wise, technology-wise, is going, cover slightly how to win a Department of War contract. I'm going to talk about an opportunity I have coming up, maybe of interest to some of you, and then finally get to those Q&A. So a little background on myself. Quantum Research Sciences is a Indiana-based quantum computing technology. We've been at it for about 10 years. We're the only company that has a TRL-9 operational quantum software at the Department of War. We have a phase 3 contract. And I'm hoping, going to be signing our 25th contract this year. So we're on a nice roll, and I want to keep it going that way. I can use all the help I can get. So if you see any opportunities, please seek me out. I'll be here for the rest of the day. We are operational on 3 different computers: IonQ, IBM, and D-Wave, and we're knowledgeable about several others. Okay, so moving on to part 2, where DOW quantum technology is going. Very simply, I can't predict the future. I'm going to take a swing at what's going to take place over the next year or two. And what I see happening is a greater focus on hardware versus software. I'm not saying there's not a focus on software. There's still a lot of focus on software, but the tide is leaning towards the hardware quantum technology portion. And I know it says quantum computing up there, but I wanted to cast a wider net. And then within what's actually taking place with that quantum technology at the Department of War is more operational versus R&D. We have great R&D departments. I work very closely with AFRL, RI up in Rome. They're working on some incredible projects, but that is just a sliver of what's taking place. So if you're looking for contracts, if you're looking for growth, those labs get the attention, but the undercurrent, which is much more sizable, is operational. And then within that operational current, and you're probably already ahead of me, is sensing. So you've seen a lot of it at this conference. You'll see it at other conferences. You'll see it throughout this industry. It's a very exciting field. Our company only peripherally plays in that space. I wish we did more because it's very interesting, and I could talk for hours about that. But over the next year, 2 years, there's a strong current going in that direction. Okay, so quickly shifting on to how to win DOW contracts. I could speak on this for days. I love it. I find it very interesting. I'm passionate about it. I was telling Paul, I like working on WAF and going through Pi at 11 o'clock at night. That's my schedule, and this federal government is open almost 24/7. So for those of us that are in sync with that, there's a lot of synergy. But I'm going to point out 4 areas that I think you need to embrace to win a contract. One is de-risking. Our war fighters are intimately aware of risk. It's a part of their lives. The men and women have it, it's almost a genetic trait. And so any contract that you're coming at them with, or potential contract or opportunity, de-risking has to be a part of that. Even though it may not come out in the work scope, it's going to be what they're thinking. If you don't address it, it's going to be harder to win. The second area I would say is use case, being familiar with the use case. I see a lot of great technology, but they go into talk to the program managers, they go talk to solicit the TPOCs, and it's singularly focused on that technology and not the use case for the warfighter. So you need to go in there either knowing what they need or having a SME on your team who can kind of translate. And then that leads to number 3. If anybody thought this was a technology play, it isn't. You all know this. It's about people. And you have to have good people skills. You got to make that connection with the TPOC. You have to I think, want to do this, and they have to see that passion. If they don't, it's going to be a lot harder to win the contract. I have, fellow companies that I'm friends with. They win a contract. The TPOC wants to do a 4-hour kickoff, and you see the knees bend and they're dreading it. If you have a TPOC that wants to do a 4-hour kickoff, you should be high-fiving your team and know that that's on the way to a phase 2. If you're not excited about that, you don't want to spend the time on it. It's going to be harder to win because they can see through that. And then finally, first question to the audience. Another just pivotal technology of modern warfare was powered flight. Anybody want to take a guess at how long it took the Wright brothers to get at that time, it was the Department of War, interested in an airplane? Quick guesses, 1 year, 2 year?
Less than a year.
What's that, sorry?
Less than a year.
More than a year. Yeah, so that's the point, Matt. So it was well over 5 years. They tried to get the Department of War interested in this thing called an airplane. There wasn't really interest. They tried again. They were very patriotic. They tried again, and they got the bureaucracy thrown at them.
Yes, sir. Robert Davis from the Air Force Academy. Another thing was that they actually hired Langley to come in and actually build one, and he was completely off. I mean, his entire theory was wrong. So if
Yeah.
they come with the Wright brothers, they could have been like, who knows what would have happened in this 5-year period. It's great.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Thank you very much. So yeah, a great history. Langley tried. He did the thing actually right out here on the Potomac. It failed, but he deserves a lot of credit along with the team for trying. And then the Wright brothers finally, it was well beyond 5 years of trying to get the Department of War interested in this powered flight thing, which happened within miles of here. The point being for you all is, and my fourth point, be patient. The federal government, the Department of War, it's a big institution. There's bureaucracy. It is what it is. But if you're patient, you'll get there. Okay, so with that, one other point I have, we have a technology and we're looking for, I don't want to talk too much about myself because I want to get this over to you all, but we are putting on a new technology hackathon. If anybody here represents a company of, let's say, 50 people or more that want to participate in this, come seek me out because it's a great opportunity and I was kind of saving it for this audience. All right, that's it. Q&A. What's on your mind? Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Hello again, sir. Aubrey Davis from the Air Force Academy. If you were to give people kind of one big nugget of advice on how to write a good requirement that the government is going to understand, what would that be? And even if it's a use case or an example, would be great.
So maybe not what you're looking for. I know where you're going, but I'm going to say persistence. Babe Ruth had more home runs at that point than anybody else. He also struck out the most. So be able to write that first, I would say to all of you, write that first proposal. Don't get your hopes up. I know you're going to love it. It's going to be beautiful. You're going to think it's perfect. There's no way it's going to lose. It's probably not going to win. We've all gone through that. You got to be in it. This is a marathon. You got to be in for the long run. My thing is just be persistent. What we're doing with contracts is no different than what professors in academia are doing with grants. Their hit rate is, and talk to them, go get their numbers, but I think their hit rate's maybe 10%. Yeah. Ours is not, our business world is not going to be much different. For every win, you're going to have 3, 4, 5 losses. It's okay. It just takes time, and then you improve. You take that first submission, figure out where you didn't do the best, and then improve upon it. All right, next one. Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. My name is Sam. I'm representing Bifrost. We're a small hardware firm based out of Colorado. My question for you is from the perspective of a small firm. We're 7 people right now, and just wanted to ask, do you have any advice for those looking for opportunities? Are there any specific grants or opportunities or contracts that are targeted for those smaller companies? And if so, could you point me to where we might be looking?
Yeah, so great question. So sam.gov is where you want to start, and it's probably going to where you're going to end. There's grants.gov. There are other sites that have a lot of opportunities, but my suggestion for all of us is go to sam.gov. It's there. They're there. You can also, once you get a little more confident, you can go to the SBIR, STTR site, depending on your particular technology. And I've heard about you guys, maybe the SBIR, STTR route is better, but it's going to be, you're going to take 3-4 swings at bat before you connect. SAM.gov, it takes a little more navigation, it's a little more complex, but the hit rate's going to be higher. And I would say one of those two versus like grants.gov, because then you're competing with academia.
Thank you, sir.
And I could go for hours. I love that topic, but all right, what else? Those are easy ones.
My name is Krishna. We're a and so we do IT services for federal. I'm trying to get into defense. So my question is, you said you guys worked with a couple of different quantum computing platforms. So I want to understand, how is the defense looking at the quantum compute platforms, and how much they want to bring it into the actual research or production? Can you give me a landscape where they're looking? Because probably the budgets will also flow that way too.
Great question, thank you. So there's no quantum computer that's IL5 compliant right now, unless other than that, what's at the agencies. But for what we're talking about here, there's no IL5 compliant computer. So that's good and bad. If you can use your technology on, do optimization on one of the computers, there's this, there's a natural firewall there that most of the Department of War knows about. And so one possible channel is get your technology working and then use one of AFRL or Army Research Labs accounts, which they have with IBM or others. So Richardson, which is a small defense company, bought a D-Wave computer. And I think they're going to try to make that secure. Once that gets us up at IL5, IL6, now we have a direct channel. But for now, it's actually good for small businesses or even large businesses because you have to work around that. And the Department of War knows that. So I see that as a good thing. Great questions. How about this side of the room? Ma'am, any questions? Any questions in the back? Any topics you want me to drill down into more?
Follow-up for that, if I may. It's a little bit technical.
Yeah, go for it.
So, which kind of now that you have experience with different computers there, which kind of computer you feel is good for the defense and for what applications? Because all of them that you mentioned have different approaches also.
Yeah, so great question. So we're active on those three. If you're doing a large optimization, again, don't repeat this outside the room, but D-Wave's probably going to be the best. And we're using a hybrid solver because the use cases that the Department of War have are big ones. And there's no computer at any OEM right now that can solve those bigger use cases. But if you want to go for optimization as big as you can, it's probably going to be a D-Wave. If you're using a more specific optimization or simulation, which we're doing on other technology, so our TRL-9 technology for the Air Force is on a gate-based computer. I'm really happy with IBM. It's a professional organization. They're responsive. We can submit a optimization, get an answer back in minutes. But we've looked at other computers and they're all good. They all have their pros and cons.
Are you going to mention any use cases?
Sure. So like these, I could go into days. But our company focuses on optimization. I'd love to get into simulation, but that's going up to bat and taking a swing for the deck, and it's risky. You hit it, you're going to be incredibly successful, but it's very difficult to do. Nobody's done it. So we're focused on optimizations that fall within the umbrella of current technology. So for instance, with the Air Force, we're using an optimization for inventory forecasters. That's one technology. We're doing another technology that's a system optimization. I forgot, we have a contract with the Pentagon for under JADC2 for ABMS, which is the Air Force's portion of JADC2, and that's a battle COA generation, but that also is an optimization, although that's more mathematics. But like there is plenty for all of us. I love this science. There's more opportunities for optimization and quantum computing, not only at the Department of War, but everywhere throughout the federal government than any of us know. So plenty of opportunities for all of us.